Hello, it's Brad Laurie of BlockchainBrad. Today I'm speaking with ZhongXing Ming. He is the CEO of Blockcloud, and this is specifically an update for all of those who want to know more about what Blockcloud's doing and all those investors as well. It's important that we are informed right from the source, and that's exactly what we're doing today. ZhongXing, thank you very much for your time this evening.
Hi, thank you, Brad.
You're very welcome. Now, one of the things I wanted to get straight into, obviously you're the CEO, you're leading this out, and that is with regard to an investor update. Now, recently you released a disclosure about some changes, so I want to go straight into that. Now, there was a bonus offer of 3%, and there was a lot of information set forth about how you changed the details in the release of tokens. Can you talk us through exactly what you did firstly, and then we can discuss why?
Yes, so we have formally announced that release update on our website, and because of the reason of maintaining the market, most of the investors are strongly supporting us and have a great confidence in the project. So by friendly negotiation with our investors, they are happy to push back the release date by 2 months, and the next release date will be the end of July, and that would be 3% of the total investment amount of the investor. That is 0.45% of the total amount of tokens.
Right. Okay, so to clarify, you've pushed everything back 2 months.
Yep.
And obviously there's about 120 investors that you have to interact with. There's quite a lot involved. And when we've spoken before, you've always said that you've made sure that you've conversed and explained this to those investors. Can you talk us through, though, surely some of these investors would have been initially shocked, or they would have been initially concerned. What was it like as the CEO to have to go to this many people, more than once I would imagine, and have to explain yourself, to explain the Blockcloud's reasoning behind this, so that they weren't simply just shocked, but they had to transition into acceptance and then support?
Yeah, it's a hard work, but I think that's what we have to do, because both the investors and Blockcloud and also the communities want a long-term good performance project, and we have more than 120 investors. But also we have more than 200 or 300,000 community members. So to largely protect the interests of all the institutional and individual investors, by friendly explaining the logic of why we update the release date, most of the investors are happy to support us, because if we can have a better performance on the secondary market, so they still have more than 90% of the tokens unreleased, and for those amount of tokens, if the price is up, and also everyone can get more benefits.
Right. Well, obviously that's one of the main reasons why you did this, because you needed liquidity, you needed support, you needed time. So how can people trust that this is the right move from the CEO, from Blockcloud, given that you've made that hard decision for that postponement? You've put out a solemn statement. You're now post-IEO as well, and there are obviously people who can participate in Blockcloud live in the secondary market. So price, it's not something we can ignore anymore. It's literally something that's built into the blockchain with the tokenized model. So how are you going to evidence empirically that you have made this right move? It's a tough one that you've done this, because there was always going to be crypto controversy lead or follow rather your lead, because you made this bold move.
Yeah, the reason why most of the investors are happy to support us is that they see the efforts we are making. So from several perspectives, one is that we are strongly promoting the projects among different communities, and currently there are more and more people understanding Blockcloud and trading Blockcloud tokens in a secondary market. We can see it from the secondary market itself.
Mm-hmm.
And another perspective is that we are aggressively talking to several top-tier international exchanges,
Mm-hmm.
and that would significantly improve the liquidity of the Blockcloud tokens, and that also needs time. So if we can maintain the market, and it will be better for us to launch those exchanges and get better performance, and people can see that. And another thing is that we have achieved a lot of collaboration in the crypto space and traditional internet industry, and that gives people confidence.
Mm-hmm. Right, and we're
yes.
Sorry to interrupt, but we will explore those as well, Dr. Ming, because we need to make sure that there is that utility built into your roadmap, and clearly those partnerships are going to be imperative to know why people would consider this a longitudinal project and not just something that's built for short-term value. So let's explore this in more detail. Now, to recap once again, there's a 2-month delay and postponement. 45 million block tokens is essentially each tranche that's going to be dropped. So talk us through the impacts of that as well on the market. From your experience and knowing how crypto works now, typically what we see is when their tranches come in, that does tend to affect a bit of the market. So clearly the reliance and the support that's given from exchanges becomes important then with their liquidity support and everything like that. So what's your anticipation? What do you expect to happen when these tranches do come into play as you start to rely on that liquidity support from the exchanges that you do have?
This is a very good question. So from the time we released the news and till now, we can see that the currently the market of Blockcloud is more stable than before. And from the market making side, from our collaborators, we see that the currently the market is much more stable. And from now, we are getting more and more community people joining in the market, and by constantly releasing our progress and good news.
I see. So just to translate, what I'm hearing is that there's less of the dumping from, or risk of dumping from any of those parties that perhaps didn't believe in you, whether they were pre-sale investors. But the point you're making is that now, because you're on that liquid secondary market, people can interact and they can take part if they believe in your utility. So it's a transitioning into that secondary market support.
Yeah, and that's one thing I want to point it out and make it clear, is that there are a lot of rumors saying that Blockcloud's foundation is dumping in the market. I want to give evidence and logic why this is not true. First, all the current circulating Blockcloud tokens is 8.65% of the whole tokens, and that is 5% for Jumpstart, that is OKEX.io, 1% public sale, and 0.45% of the private sale investors, and 2% for cash deposit.
Okay.
That accounts 8% and 6.5%.
Right, so 8.65% in total currently in circulating supply.
And that's the amount at the very beginning that Blockcloud tokens launched OKEX, because 10 days after that, the deposit function of OKEX was closed, and no one, including Blockcloud itself, can deposit into the market. So we cannot dump. We are not physically capable of that. And also, because Blockcloud Foundation is very, very confident about the project itself, we bought a lot of tokens from the secondary market, and I want to show the very strong confidence, very strong evidence of this by a live show.
I appreciate that also, because for those listening and not able to see, perhaps they're doing a podcast, I'll try and talk you through this as well. But I do appreciate this because we've never actually done this before, and I've never done this with a CEO, but you're literally showing us an account to prove, to clarify that you literally are buying from the secondary market to ensure the long-term value of Blockcloud.
Yeah, because if I send someone a picture, someone may say that we are photoshopping it or something, but we can do it live. Okay. So this is one of my accounts. You can see the BTC price.
Yes.
It is today. Yeah. It is not yesterday or the day before yesterday.
Yes. Unfortunately, today it's down. Yes.
Yeah. And also, so for my account, I'm not sure if you
can we can see that very clearly. So we see the numbers starting 117, 157, etc. Yes, it's very long. We can see that's a substantial amount.
In this account, I have more than 100 million Blockcloud tokens just in this account. And we have multiple accounts. So that means we cannot deposit into OKX. That means we cannot sell, but we bought a lot of tokens gradually from the market.
Sure.
That's because we have a lot of confidence in the project.
Right. And can we talk about why you did that? So obviously you have confidence, but what's for those who are wondering, what's the impact in buying back those tokens for the longevity, for the sustainability of Blockcloud as a startup? What's the real reason why you need to do this?
So two reasons. One is that we have a strong confidence. Another reason is that we have our responsibility to maintain the market. So we want the market to be healthy and good. So
So you do it, and it makes a lot of sense because, in this crypto economy that we see, we've seen evidence of this with Binance, for example. They also have their buyback, or rather they have a burn strategy. We're seeing that come out more with other token models. Whatever they're doing, different parties and different startups, they're doing it to have more control for a means of sustaining their value, because it's a challenging thing to engage in crypto economics and to establish something that is viable. So I applaud you for trying to do it, and I really thank you for being transparent about that with your account today. That is something that I've not seen a CEO do before. Now, let's move across a little bit to some of the discussions with regard to the price itself. I want to be really direct. Now, we've seen that decline, over the recent months. Are you at all concerned about that, given that you are going to release this later, and we see this continuing to fall week in, week out?
We cannot predict the market, and the only thing is that we do our best to make the product good. But I do think that the current value of Blockcloud is definitely and strongly underestimated. And the reason is that maybe we should do more things to explain people why Blockcloud is valuable in the long term, and also show more progress to the communities. And this is one thing for doing that. We will constantly release our progress, and also we will do more international meetups. In this month, we will go to Vietnam and Korea, and maybe next month we are planning our trip to America to meet more community members and enterprise collaborators, and to let people know the true value of Blockcloud. And another reason is that I think a lot of people were scared by those rumors. That's really bad. Those rumors about Blockcloud is dumping in the market. So I know many people were scared. So that's why I want to give confidence or evidence to the community. So people don't have to be scared, because we are not a short-term project. We are very confident in the future of Blockcloud, and it's strongly underestimated. I think so. The value of Blockcloud is at least more than 100 or 500 times than its current.
Well, that's serious confidence, and for those who are supporters of Blockcloud, I'm sure that's music to their ears. Now, I want to talk to you about the advisors for a moment, Dr. Ming, because one of the things that we often see in most startups is that they provide some sort of special terms for advisors, whether that be an unlocked deal that is different to others. I want to get that really clear and transparent for everyone, because if that was the case, let's just open that book up. Let's have that conversation. What was the arrangement you had with your advisors with regard to the lockup that they had? Was it anything different? If it was different.
There are typically two kinds of terms.
Okay. One
term is just a one-time payment, like for the day of listing, maybe we pay $1,000 or $300 equivalent tokens to them, and this is only one time,
right?
And everything is done. And another is a long-term relationship, and they have a bit more tokens, but the lockup period is the same as the team, so 4 years. Yeah.
Right. So so the rumors of anyone dumping as an advisor is just not possible.
So you can look at the total amount of tokens in OKX. So how can they physically do that?
Right.
Because no one can deposit.
Right. But I meant retrospectively in any time in the past that there's any suggestion that there's special affordances made for an advisor is not true. To clarify from you.
I have to say that there were about 0.2% of tokens sent to advisors at the very beginning. 0.2%.
Right.
Only those amounts. And after that, no one could deposit.
Got it. Well, thank you for clarifying that. I really sincerely appreciate that. Now, to move across to tech for a moment for a quick update, let's talk about anything that you've done with regard to your layer 0 solution that really enhances the technology since we last spoke, that adds more to the quality of your technology, of your startup as you develop further.
Yeah, so I think maybe the time before last time, we talked about our testing wallet. It is our testnet, and it's a web-based wallet. But now we are developing our mobile version of our wallet, and it will be released shortly. Actually, we are testing it, and maybe within 1 or 2 months, people can use or test our mobile wallet.
Right.
It's not ERC20. It's our wallet, our testnet.
Got it.
Our testnet is also under testing.
I see. So what could that do for Blockcloud? Quite sincerely, given that it's mobile, you're based in Beijing, clearly it's very much a technological environment. Everything is not necessarily decentralized yet, but it's very digitized. So what could that do for Blockcloud, given that everyone's already on WeChat? It's a cashless society almost now. Is it something that could really benefit Blockcloud because it's such an accessible means of engaging with Blockcloud, having that wallet on your phone?
That wallet is just an application built on Blockcloud codec system.
Okay.
But the value of Blockcloud itself is the service-centric networking that provides constant connectivity for dynamic networks. And that service-centric networking is used in a number of scenarios like streaming services and mobile networks and Internet of Things and content distribution networks. And we are collaborating with some real large internet enterprises.
I see. You can't tell us yet. So I think that's exciting because that's again moving into that mainstream enterprise marketplace where obviously these entities these businesses exist now, and you're connecting with them to enhance your performance, to enhance your utility, but also enable them to decentralize some of their services and products. So it's going to be interesting to talk to you more about those when they do come out. I want to talk to you about the IEO for a moment. Now, we're in a post-IEO phase now. You did the jump start with OKX. What's your view on IEOs now that you've done one? Was it a good experience for you, and would you recommend it to other people?
I think it's a kind of innovation in the crypto space, and I think to do it, exchanges might choose better projects with high quality to do that, so that from some extent can protect the interests of investors. But also to do this, there are a lot of requirements for the projects, so there are also a lot of challenges, so you need to face. And I think if a simple way of IO maybe is on its end, maybe we need some more innovations to this field.
Just to perfect and to improve it, you mean? Right. So what's the main reason why you did it? Was it for attention? To get, in order to become more known in the crypto sphere, in the crypto domain, so that people could engage more in Blockcloud?
So I think at that time, so it's by talking to OKX, we found that there are some joint requirements from both the exchange and the project. We have some of the similar goals, and so we have some ideas in common. So maybe we can try it, and it's kind of an innovation. Blockchain is an innovation, so why don't we try a innovative way to do that?
Makes sense. Now, a big question for you is funds, and do you have enough funds to continue through? Do you have the financial resources to really sustain this bear market to make sure that you can continue through?
Of course, we are very confident about that. Yes.
Can you talk us through some numbers, though? just more generally, are you really confident that you do have the capital? Perhaps not, giving us numbers, that's not fair, but are you really sure that you have a substantial amount in the crypto coffers of Blockcloud so that you can really continue to build without a worry, keep your team highly, to make sure that they're paid so through your diligent savings at that time?
Yes, the answer is yes, and we are very confident about that. And another thing I want to say is that there are some really good capitals did reinvestment to Blockcloud because they are very confident in the project, and we will release the news in the near future.
Got it. Okay. And by capitals, do you mean also major enterprise players or major venture capitalists? What do you mean by that? When you say capitals?
I mean the crypto capitals in this space.
Right, got it. So the VCs. Now, what about revenue for yourselves? Now, right now, and we've talked about this before, are you continuing to generate income through all of the different things that you're engaging with, through the product services that you offer? Are you making money?
We have got the contract. Money will be coming shortly, I think.
Okay, well, that's good to hear. Now, I have a tough question for you. You alluded to this before with exchanges. I call it the quadruple B, Bitfinex, Binance, Bittrex, BitMax. A lot of Bs, Brad included perhaps. But quite seriously, I want to ask you, are you talking to any of these exchanges? I mean, can you tell us anything? You said top tier. Some of those are certainly in that realm, if not all.
I think according to the common rule of this space, I cannot comment on the names of exchanges, but we are aggressively talking to some good exchanges,
Got it. Okay.
international exchanges.
Nice and safe. Now, recently you were in Seoul. It was very, very interesting because you were there for a blockchain battle or a block battle. What was interesting about this was that there was a viewership of about 10 million people from a live show, and you were there as one of the judges. What was that experience like? What was the value, in your opinion, to really spread the name of Blockcloud to that audience?
I think this is a very good TV show. It has a lot of audience and a lot of influences in Korea and Southeast Asia. And yeah, I think the value of this show is both sides. One side is that we can get in touch with a great number of great entrepreneurs in this space, and also by communication with other judges, like the director of Bitrix, the partner of GBICE, and other great people in the space. We can extend our resources, and also by being a judge, we can show the Blockcloud to a great number of people. I think this is a very good activity.
I would tend to agree, and also the fact that you're a judge, you're not there to pitch, really put Blockcloud on the map, I think, because it is quite a popular show as well, and it did have a significant reach in a country that is literally probably the most blockchain and crypto crazy of all, you know, in terms of consumers and those that are blockchain savvy and interested in this whole economy that's emerging now. I want to talk to you a little bit more about some of those real partnerships as well, Dr. Ming. Marlin Protocol, a very prominent and much discussed protocol right now. Walton Chain, ARPA, VRC Group, all of these partnerships have recently happened in the last few months. What's the nature of them, if we want to go through them briefly? Why do these partnerships? Because often we see superficial partnerships, just, you know, for marketing purposes. I want to try and dig deeper though and find out what the nature of these are, what they do for Blockcloud, and what they do reciprocally for each of these startups.
So I want to give you some examples. For example, for the Walton Chain, they are one of their use cases is the hardware and Internet of Things devices, and it is also our use case. And also they are making electronic chips, and we are developing the overlay network on top of their chips. So that's a very good
fit
connection between the products of Blockcloud and also Walton Chain. And also for Merlin network, they're building a very good overlay network in the application layer, and they need a strong support of the underlayer protocols to provide good performance for their network. And they are very technical team. And I have talked to their CTO, and we found a lot of sense in common. So we are discussing how we can integrate our products from top to the bottom.
I see. And they're also very much enterprise focused as a layer one infrastructure. Your layer zero, as you talk about, TCP essentially for, you know, all the data, the internet for blockchains. Now, given that you've spoken with the CTO, I'm planning on speaking with the CEO, with Siddhartha, soon. It's interesting because they do tend to focus on enterprise. Is it something that, you know, because you're agnostic by design, that you can also really cater for enterprise and for the private sector for really building out blockchains of the future?
Yes, we think so. Both Blockcloud and Merlin think so.
Right. Well, it's going to be interesting to see more of that partnership unfold. Now, let's talk about the others. ARPA, VOC Group. These two aren't so well known yet. What's the nature of these? Why do these partnerships?
because Blockcloud is basically a underlayer protocol, so both Anchor and APA and Multivac need
Even
a
top
strong
network.
support. Yeah, and for example, Multivac can provide better concurrency at the application layer. So by combining the two technologies together, so on the up layer, we can have a very good concurrency and high TPS, and on the under layer, we can have a good network performance. So that's basically how we collaborate with other projects.
And that's really interesting because a lot of people argue whether there's a need for the layer twos, especially with sharding through multivac. You mentioned the concurrency, but they're really well known for trying to improve the scalability. Now, you're also focused on network infrastructure and network capability and efficiency and performance. So are you suggesting that there is an absolute need for the layer 0 right through to layer 2, that they can all work collaboratively and effectively together?
I think so. I think it's a good trend.
Right. Okay. Well, moving on, marketing and PR. One of the things when you go and have a look at Twitter, for example, is that there's not a lot happening there, but you know it's improving. There's more information being rolled out. Gradually, we're starting to see more engagement happening in other channels. I've been checking. Is there a plan to continue to unfurl more information, to be even more consistent, to be more diverse in the releases of information that you do?
Yes, we will do more things in our international channels, and more and more updates will be coming. Yeah.
Right, and Nathan obviously still working, doing his updates for you as well as one of the international ambassadors.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, one of the things I want to ask you is Binance. You're part of an alliance there. It's known as the Information Transparency Group. What's the reasoning behind that? Why did you take part?
So Binance is the world's leading exchange and also ecosystem in this space. So I think it's good to get connected to them, and so I think there are a lot of things we can do together.
Absolutely. Well, obviously, in this respect as well, I would imagine it's the value add is research, and transparency itself is an imperative, especially this year, with people getting smarter, whether it be from the speculative frame, the investor frame, or just simply more people diving deep in understanding crypto. So is there an expectation in the future that you'll engage more, perhaps, for example, with Binance Labs, where they do research, or do you have a good relationship with Binance?
I think when we have more progress, we can update it in our public channels.
Sure. Okay. I want to finish off with a statement that is made by the Blockcloud team, if that's okay. Now, you purport to state that you can change the world of technology and benefit users and investors. Now, we've gone through the details of the investment side. We've really explored, the price considerations, the changes in the tranches as well, and a delay in the postponement. But I just want to really focus on now that long-term vision that you have in changing the world. Do you stand by that? And how can you empirically evidence that you're on track to literally change the world through tech?
By looking at our past progress, I think people can see it. So it's all on our website, our updates.
And the GitHub?
Yeah.
So people can ensure that things are
when we release our testnet, so people can see more things.
Got it. Okay. Well, I want to thank you sincerely for your time today, Dr. Ming. I know you're very busy. It's late for both of us. You're in Beijing, I'm here in Australia. And once again, this is an opportunity for those who want to get an update for Blockcloud. This will happen consistently as a means to really allow people an inside scoop into what Blockcloud is doing so that people aren't left behind. You are always there with the team whenever you do have updates. And I thank the CEO of Blockcloud for doing this, for agreeing to come on consistently, bi-monthly perhaps, whenever we can make time to make sure you as consumers, users of blockchain do matter, because it's all about doing this in a collaborative crypto, way. And you certainly, Dr. Ming, make sure that everyone's included. And I thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Bye.